Now that we have our layers set up, the first thing we should do is probably save our drawing. Go up to File, Save As, and we're going to put this, you can probably put it into your home drive. That way nobody can access it. I'm going to put it on the desktop just for quick and easy. Title it Title Block. That way this is the start point for all of your drawings. Open this up. We're going to keep it blank except for the title block itself, and then you're going to add in the drawings to each drawing that we do for future. So you can open that up. So save this. I've already done it once, so I'm going to replace that. Now, just kind of for fundamentals and just kind of getting used to the drawing area, this we've clicked into where we're in just the top view. So we're seeing two-dimensional. As I mentioned before, this location where the green line, the vertical green line, the red horizontal line, that is this where they meet is 0, 0. There's that third dimension. Right now we're only working two-dimensionally, and I can point that out down here in the bottom left. It says the X location. That's where my cursor kind of left the screen, and then Y, and then Z. You can see that as I go through here, that Z is not changing because I stay within that two-dimensional plane, and my X changes depending on where I'm at. You can see that if I'm up in this first quadrant, it's all positive. Down here it starts to begin, I start to get the negative numbers. Now what I want to point out here is using your mouse can kind of, well, it'll be helpful if you kind of get used to using the roller, which zooms in and out. And then if you right click and press and hold it, what you'll get is the pan tool. What I would like you to do is pan that down where the green and red line are down in the lower left corner. That way we can kind of work in this area. We don't see everything else that we see. Now what I want to also point out, if you zoom out this grid, there's a certain extent to the grid. In reality, it goes on for infinite space. You can see the numbers down here in the bottom left. Even though I'm beyond the green area, it still continues on. We can change that grid so it goes on forever and ever, but we don't need to. We can just kind of focus on just a smaller area. So I'm zooming in kind of where I believe where I'm going to be working. Okay, so now there's a lot of tools along here. We can ignore most of them for now. If you have this properties windows, you can click out of it, and it kind of helps clean up some things. I'm going to get rid of a few of these. Most likely you won't have them in or on your as your tools. You should have these out there. Up along the top is your command prompt. What we're going to do is either choose commands along here or type them in. Typing them in is a little bit more convenient if you know exactly what tool you want, or if you can't remember. We're going to begin with typing in, or begin with lines, and we want them on a specific layer. I'm going to go down to the bottom. If you click on this where it says, mine says guidelines, yours most likely says default. If you click on that, we're going to go to guidelines to begin with, because what we're going to do is draw in the outside of a paper that is 8.5 by 11. We just want that as kind of a guide for us to start setting up our title block. Those guideline lines won't print because we've set it up onto that, or set the layer up so it doesn't print. So we're going to start out with guidelines. So I want you to click on that, and then up in here in the command prompt, if you're going to begin typing in line, if you begin with letter L, it's going to show you every single command that begins with L. You can go down and either finish out typing in line or just click on line here. Now, with each individual command, you're going to get a bunch of subsettings which are in these parentheses where you can change, go in with a normal, angle, all of these. For now we're just going to ignore those, but what it does say is in this bold letter is that start of line with a specific, with line I guess specifically we're going to do with a start and an end. So what we need to do is tell the computer, it's kind of a question or a statement, but we need to tell it where to start and where to end. We're going to start this down at 0, 0. So what I mean by 0, 0 is up here where it has the command. We're going to start by typing in, and what I want you to recognize is my cursor is down here in the drawing area, but as I begin to type 0, 0, that gives me the point of 0, 0. Now I've typed it in, but I need to hit enter. And what you'll notice is that mine is I get this green line that's overlapping. If I take off ortho, which you'll kind of experiment with later, I have a line that's attached to that exact point. What we want to do is create a border of the paper that is 11 inches long and then go up 8.5 and then back over and come back around. So we're basically creating a rectangle. What we want to do is we want that line to be perfectly straight. Now, one thing I could try and do is go and set up a line or go along and try to coordinate these two numbers here and try to get 11 inches by 0, which could be fairly accurate. Another way you can do it is click on snap, and what it's going to do is snap to the grid. You can kind of see it's kind of jumpy a little bit more. It's not moving around as smooth. What this does is allows you to go in increments of 1/4 inch. And you can see I'm at 12. I can go back to 11. There I'm at 11, and I can click. And now once I've clicked, left click, I get this line. Now you might not be able to see it because it is relatively light, but if I left click over the top, it turns to yellow. That is a line that we've drawn. I'm going to continue drawing a line around the outside, so I'm going to type in line again. And now, along here, this is something else I want to point out that is a drawing aid. These are called object snaps or O snaps. That's kind of the common way of saying it, but these refer to a point on a line or an object. For instance, an end, a near point would be every point on a line. Point will ignore over the middle of a line. If I have these on, for instance, end and mid, center would refer to more of a circle, but if you go over here, I'm going to turn off snap so you can really see it. What it's telling me is that I am snapping to the end. I can be exactly precise on where these are. Now I can go across, there's middle, and go across and there's end. What we're going to do is start another line. Since I'm in the line command, I'm going to start a line right at the end and continue up this direction. Now there's another way that I can enter in a location. I'm starting here, but if I want to go relative to 0, we know that that other corner is going to be out 11, up 8.5. So again, up here, the end of my line, I can type in 11, 8.5, enter, and it's given me a line that's gone out exactly to the opposite corner. That dimension is 11 over 8.5 up. Now what I want to do is continue that back this direction. I'm going to draw another line, but I want to show you a different way to draw lines. This is probably going to be your most common way of drawing. I'm going to snap to the end. I'm going to left click because I'm doing the start of the line, left click, and I want to go back this direction. Now if I hold my shift button, what it does is you can see that it'll snap into 90 degrees, or every increment of 90. If I'm here, 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 it's just going to snap. So what I'm doing is I'm tapping my shift button and it'll snap. If I hold it down, I can go this direction. Now the end of the line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a distance of 11 inches, hit enter. Now what you can see here is my line will never go longer than 11 inches. I hit my snap and it'll snap to horizontal, and I left click and it'll automatically place an 11-inch line at that exact angle of 0 going horizontally to the left. Now I've got 3 lines here. I do have a green line, but that's not part of the drawing. If you start your line command again, hit enter, and now what I'm going to do is use my snaps really quickly, as I can left click and left click on those endpoints, and I get all 4 lines. There's our outside of our paper.